What's up, you guys? It's Paul here from the 95 Investors Club channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about whether you should invest in the Airbnb IPO tomorrow or not, and how exactly I am planning to invest in it, okay? So right at the bat, Airbnb talked about how they're pricing their IPO between $67 and $68. Now, they raised it quite a bit because initially, earlier this week, they expected it to be between 44 to 50, and they raised it between 56 to 60, and now it's as high as 67 to 68. Now, whenever a company starts raising their IPO price target so much, I feel like they're really capitalizing on the hype around the stock or the hype around the company going IPO. And this is actually good for the company and the early investors in it. But I feel like this would really shoot up where the stock actually is going to open tomorrow and how it's going to potentially behave, okay? So if the IPO price is going to be 67 to 68, the valuation is going to be around $41 billion. But if you also account for the 15 million shares that can be exercised by the vested employee options, then it would put a diluted valuation around $47 billion. Now, the thing with stocks like this is, if the IPO is at 68, there's a good chance that it's actually going to start trading at 110 or 120, okay? So even today, we saw both the IPO for DoorDash as well as C3AI. DoorDash IPO was 102, but by the time it actually started trading, it was at 182 or something, and it mostly traded sideways around there. With C3AI, their IPO price was 42. By the time they opened, they were over $100. So anytime you see this IPO price, don't expect that it is going to start trading at that point. It's definitely going to be a lot higher. To give you an example, even if you look at Zoom, they IPO'd at $36, but by the time they actually opened for trading, it was around $62. With BigCommerce, they IPO'd at actually $24, but by the time they actually started trading on the market, it was 68, which is nearly 3 times that, okay? I also made a video previously about Snowflake, where the Snowflake IPO was around 120, but by the time they actually opened on the market, it was 245. So make sure you remember that when it actually starts trading tomorrow afternoon. Even though the IPO price is 68, it might be as high as twice that. But here's exactly how I trade IPOs. When it comes to trading IPOs, the best way to do is, if there's a lot of hype around the stock and it starts to shoot up right off the bat, then I highly recommend that you just wait it out before getting in, okay? Don't get into FOMO. Don't think this is going to 2 to 3x or 10x like a lot of other IPOs over several years and just jump in at the bottom. Because if you look at a stock like Zoom, which has gone up like crazy since IPO, they shot up very quickly in a very short time, all the way over $100 from 62. And then eventually they started coming back down all the way to retest the IPO price, okay? So that's your cue to get into the stock. Anytime a stock actually shoots up right after IPO, that actually gives you a pretty good indication on how the investor sentiment behind the stock. And it's actually a really good sign that they've shot up right after IPO. But you should always wait for that pullback to very close to the IPO price before you jump back in, okay? And once you get in here, it's a lot smoother ride to get on this parabolic ride. Obviously, Zoom is kind of an exception because they accelerated because of the pandemic. But the thing is, even well before the pandemic came out, they were doing really well, even leading up to it. If you look around here. So same thing with BigCommerce. They shot up like crazy here. Initially shot up at around $93. Then they had some partnership with Facebook and Instagram checkout. So then they shot up all the way to 140 something here. And then they started coming back down. But they're finding pretty good support here around $68, which was where they opened. And there's only, once you get in anywhere here close to the IPO price, you can ride the run up just like any other IPO stock, okay? So that's what I want you to keep in mind when you're trading Airbnb. Don't chase into the hype. If they actually start falling right after open like Uber did, then it's a good chance to actually not invest into it right away, because it took Uber a really long time to actually get back to its IPO price. So I feel like that may also happen, so just keep an eye out for it, because first of all, in my opinion, Airbnb is a great company to be invested in. They are definitely they're huge competitors to hotels, and eventually Airbnb is going to be so common, they're going to be what Uber has been to taxis, where right now it's hard to imagine life without Uber or Lyft or any of these rideshare companies. So Airbnb is definitely going to be like that. They've even laid off a lot of employees recently. So essentially it's a small company right now with around 5,400 employees, and they're essentially a tech company, not really real estate. And so a lot of people who actually use Airbnb, both as a way to stay there as well as people who are actually Airbnb hosts, it's become a good source of income for people to continue becoming Airbnb hosts. Okay, so in my opinion, Airbnb is definitely going to be the future. They have a huge addressable market around the world because people need a place to stay everywhere in the world. So Airbnb has a huge potential. So just don't get too greedy ahead of time. Wait for that little pullback back to IPO price wherever it ends up opening, and that's your cue to get in. Okay, so that's exactly how I'm going to trade. It could be a few months down the line, by the way. Don't think this is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It could be a few months down the line, but that's the best time to get in. Anytime at or below the IPO price would be the best time to get in. Don't just chase it. If it opens up 30% on day one, don't get in, guys, expecting it's going to double. So just be patient with that. Okay, now in general market news as well, the market it looked like it was doing pretty okay first thing in the morning, but then it started crashing. That's because of two reasons. First of all, we found out the two British people with severe allergies apparently had allergic reactions to the Pfizer BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine, raising questions about whether it's safe or not with people with pre-existing allergies. Now, it was not immediately clear what triggered the allergic reaction, so they're still definitely looking into it. And even though, especially in the US trials, this was not a significant problem when they were testing 20,000 people who got these doses. But the thing is, the US trials kept out subjects who have had severe allergic reactions, okay? Now that's definitely something dangerous and concerning when it comes to the Pfizer vaccine, mainly because, a vaccine that triggers a dangerous reaction in people with severe allergies poses a major challenge in the US, mainly because about 3 to 4 million Americans carry epinephrine with them at all times in case of allergic reactions. And so if you start issuing recommendations that anyone with an EpiPen doesn't get vaccinated, that could be a showstopper for Americans, okay? So this is a huge problem. A lot of the researchers who've released the vaccine are quite puzzled by it. They're not really sure why this is happening. For example, here there were more allergic reactions in the group that received the vaccine, but both represented a fraction of only 1% of the trial participants. But the thing is, any negative news on vaccine right now is going to make the market drop a lot. So just keep an eye out for it. We still have to watch out to see why this is happening. If this causes more delay in the rollout of vaccines, then definitely the market is going to take a hit because of that. And in second news, obviously the fact that we still haven't gotten a clear resolution on the stimulus. That's still been delayed again, so that's another huge issue that we still have to face, and another reason why the market dropped. But once any stimulus news gets confirmed and we know that there is going to be another stimulus, then I think the market is going to recover. But those are the two main reasons why the market dropped today. I'm looking at different key levels here for SPY. It bounced off of the all-time highs around 370 here twice already, so that's going to be a strong resistance right now. So right now, I want to see if this 366 can act as support. The market right now is very news driven more than fundamentals or something. So definitely going to be watching to see how different news is going to come out and affect the market. So be careful out there. Don't get too aggressive with buying a lot of shares at once or buying a lot of call options. So just be careful, play it safe. Even if you want to get some options or stocks, keep it small and scale it in once we get more clarity about the vaccine news or stimulus. And then that way you won't put yourself at too much risk, okay? Well, that's all I wanted to share with you guys here today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please do smash that like button. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell, okay? Thanks again for watching, and until next time.